Hello, this is Renee and Kent Miller, and we are discussing the next part in our series on predictions that we have received. This is part 4, and we're going to, well, let's first say something. There's something that this is not our favorite thing to do, first of all. But we were asked by our spiritual mentors to start releasing this information
a
little at a time. So we are trying to get one segment out a week, and then we continue with the lessons, which is really what we prefer doing, is teaching the understanding that correlates to the book, The Augmentation of Man. If you do not wish to see these videos on predictions, just don't open them.
Yeah. If you say that it's too negative or whatever, just don't open it. Just go to the learning.
Yeah, if you wish to continue with the lessons. However, our intention is to follow through with the request of our spiritual mentors in releasing that information, but also to give you, the viewer, the opportunity to make your own decision about what that means. We will give what we might believe it to mean, and it doesn't mean
that we are totally right,
that we're correct.
So you could be right on your interpretation.
And we have to understand that a lot of these are subject to the conditions at the time. So that what we believe it to mean at this point could change. And then when it actually plays out, we will have that aha moment and say, oh, that's what it means, because it becomes obvious at that point.
Most predictions are based on how mankind or humanity unfolds the events.
It's based on the succession and the lineup of events as they unfold. And so, and lastly, what we intend to do is, where it's appropriate, give some sort of guidance as to how to prepare for it.
Or for definitions of words that people aren't familiar with.
Yeah, so we will also share definitions as well. So we're going to share the screen and turn on a PowerPoint, and I noticed that it's not on the right. We'll change that. So, okay, here we go. So again, this is part 4 in our prediction series. And this prediction was actually received on February 24th, 2011.
No, 2007 it says.
2007. Where did I get that from? I guess they rhyme. However, this was a rather long prediction.
So this will come in sequence of 3.
2.
2, okay.
It's going to be split in half. So the second half will be shared next week. And we'd like to give the predictions that tend to cause people anxiety first, and finish up with a positive note. And so there are always positive things that will come out of the changes that are upon us. So this starts out.
Okay, go ahead and read the first line.
Propensity of behavior is obnoxious. The obscenity of a culmination. So they're talking about human behavior here, and propensity towards something is the natural inclination. Our behavior is becoming much more obnoxious. And it is the obscenity, which is what is offensive morally or by decency. of the culmination of what is going on within humanity at this time.
Bombardment of nations will supersede the culmination.
So a lot of these words that are used by our guides have literal meaning, and we tend to use a word only in a limited sense, a limited parameter. And so when you look at the dictionary, and we encourage the use of, you're looking up these words because you'll discover new meanings. When we talk about bombardment, of course, what comes to mind first is the use of bombs, war, that sort of thing.
But under the definition.
But under the definition, there are several meanings. And so it can also mean to direct high energy particles or radiation too. So that would bring to mind nuclear war.
Okay.
It would also bring to mind an EMP. So that could be either a man-created EMP, or electromagnetic pulse.
This could also mean attack vigorously with argument.
Or on the EMP side, could also mean an electromagnetic pulse in the form of a solar storm, so coming from the sun. And we encourage you to look those up and do your own research on that. And so that would be like in the form of a Carrington event. So look that up and see what you discover with that. So then what Kent was describing, it also could mean to attack
through argument. And it also means ridicule.
Right. Or to impinge upon or make an impact upon.
So there are various meanings to the word bombardment.
So this here prediction, bombardment of nations will supersede the culmination, could mean any of those things.
So the next thing would be Iran is nervous, causing change. World not sure will not help. We're not sure what exactly this means, but there is nervousness within the world with Iran and the United States, and maybe with the EU, I'm not sure, but there is causing nervousness.
So, of course, nuclear proliferation is concerned today with Iran and nuclear warheads, that sort of thing.
So we don't want to go down there because that is something that has not occurred yet. The nervousness has, but we don't want to go down the road to nuclear exchange at all. So let's go on to Pakistan.
So, and the world's not sure about how that's going to play out. Pakistan, beware, not who they are. Others will grasp victory. And so for us, that kind of speaks to, we understand Pakistan to be governed by their army, and this reading into it would say possibly that may not be true. We don't want to
make assumptions. Yeah, we're not sure where that's going to go. Is another country going to take it over or what? We're not sure, but we're just putting that out there so you can look at it and decide what it might mean.
Yes, so please use your own deciphering on that one. So the next absurdity takes place. The stupidity will enhance the process of the culmination.
And what is the human race doing right now? I mean, the stupidity that we see on the news, that we walk down the major street, we see the reflections of the human violence and the
disrespect for one another,
all that.
What things that we're saying to each other, all of that is culminating to a certain point where things are going to shift.
The encirclement of detrusous environments. And we've got to know, what is detrusous?
So detrusous is a word that they have used that originates in the word detrude. And detrude means something that is encircling or something that's forcing something down. So it's oppressive, suppressive, it's holding something down. And
it could mean the human race.
It could mean that the encirclement, meaning that it's surrounding and oppressing.
Yeah, and the ancients said that I can only acclaim the absurd, which is just what we were talking about. And the way people respect or treat each other.
Right. So these precarious times that we can see this already starting to play out, those from outside are watching and they're saying, this is absurd. But at the same time, we need to play through it. And so continuing on, they're saying the positive is foregone. So the positive just doesn't exist anymore.
No, you can do not see positive. And can we turn it back? They said we probably can't.
At this point,
we
may not be able to turn this back. It has to play out. And so moving into the positive side, the brighter side, they're telling us that they're watching from outside and they're preparing. So preparation is at hand. They're telling us to be bold, that there's going to be a new start, a true start.
A clean change, something new, crisp, clean change, and awesome, and the word enlightenment, which I don't like to use, but they said that.
And so enlightenment is to shed light on, but it also is to give knowledge to impart an understanding to. And so when we tie that in with other readings, we are going to, in the future, have a reconnection with a relationship with our star brothers and sisters, and they are once again going to return to a period of sharing information with us and understanding.
Yeah, said old days come back. What do you mean by old days? The old days of peace, and where people got along. The majority of the people got along with each other.
Also, I understand that going with this awesome enlightenment, and then the next reading, the next sentence says, again, a fortuitous understanding, is that this is a period of time that's going to be like in our past, where this information and technology was shared by other beings from outside of our world with humans, and that we would return to those old days again when we had a proliferation of understanding and technology that was being imparted upon the human race from outside.
And that's many thousands of years ago, going back to that past.
Yes.
Anyway, we have to preserve it. If we can find out the information about that past, we have to preserve it because it will enhance our future.
And this also might be read as preserve the past, it enhances the future, in the sense of remember the past so that we don't make the same mistakes, and pass it on to the history, pass it on to the next generation and the next and the next, so that we don't repeat the same mistakes that have brought us to this point in time.
Yeah. Now we have to use knowledge. We use it as a learning tool. If you don't use it as a learning tool, or you put it aside, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the word knowledge within your vocabulary. And they said either use it or bequeath it. Bequeath it to another that can use it. But you must understand. If you don't understand what learning is, what knowledge is, and understand the value of what we need to know, then it's all just verbal stupidity.
So they're really encouraging us to start learning and understanding and growing in our...
and you've heard us use the word understanding over and over and over again in our lessons. If you want to begin understanding, you need to start now. It's not going to get it overnight. You're not going to get it 1 week or a month or a year, but you can begin on your path to understand.
So this is what the next cycle is all about. It's about conceptual learning. And again, the past cycle ended December 21st, 2012. That was about perceptual learning. So perception not necessarily being aligned to truth or complete truth. So we're moving into a new cycle of conceptual learning. It's the ability to take many different ideas and connect the dots for a broader picture. And so it's going to be requiring us to participate in a much deeper sense. And that means homework.
So let us know what your interpretation is. Your interpretation could be more right than ours. We don't know. But we just told you our interpretation. We'd like to hear from you and get your interpretation.
And you can send us a note. We're on Facebook, and that is at the Augmentation of Man, a study in Renaissance, or our email, and that would be Verdiance, BERDIANCE.Miller@gmail.com. And then, of course, check out our website. We have the lessons on it on the blog. And we've got chapter synopsis, so that helps with the understanding of the book, The Augmentation of Man, a study in Renaissance, and that's an introduction to conceptual learning.
Okay, with that, you have a great week.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you probably in another week or two. Thank you.
And we will also be getting out very soon our next lesson. Take care. Peace be with you.